In this video, we're going to be looking at bar and column graphs. We're going to be looking at what they look like and what are the key features of a bar and column graph. First of all, let's look at a column graph. We have a column graph here. It's given that title because the bars are vertical, therefore they look like columns. There are some very important key features that we've got of a column graph that you need to be aware of so that when you're drawing your column graph, you are doing it correctly with all the correct features. First of all, the bars are vertical. A column graph always has vertical bars. Secondly, the bars have gaps between them. This is a common error I see with a lot of students. They put the bars touching each other, and that shouldn't happen. We should have gaps between each one, as we have here. Also, very importantly, there is a gap between the first bar and the vertical axis. See how we have a gap here? A lot of students draw their first bar right up against the vertical axis. That should not happen. You should always have a gap here between the vertical axis and the bar and a gap between every other bar in the graph. Both axes are labelled. We have this axis labelled number of people. This axis has the fruit written on it. The graph has a title. Here we have the title nicest fruit, and the graph is given its own title. The vertical axis has a scale. You can see as we go up here, we have a scale 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, so that when we read the bars, we can see exactly what they mean. Now let's look at a bar graph. As you can see, we have the same data on this graph, but it looks slightly different. Let's look at the key features of a bar graph. First of all, the bars are horizontal this time. So a column graph has vertical bars, a bar graph has horizontal bars. Secondly, once again, the bars have gaps between them. If we look carefully between each bar, we've got a little gap there. And none of the bars are up against each other. That should not happen. There is a gap between the first bar and the horizontal axis. Yes, here again, we have a gap between the horizontal axis and the first bar. This bar here should never be up against the horizontal axis, never. There should always be a gap here. Both axes are labelled again. The horizontal axis is labelled number of people. The vertical axis has the fruit along it. The graph has a title. Once again, we have nicest fruit as the title of our graph. The horizontal axis has a scale. Once again, we can see our scale here is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Next, we're going to be looking at how to construct a column or bar graph using Excel. These graphs have already been prepared by me and I constructed these using an Excel spreadsheet. You can see here that we have the frequency table shown. At the top we have our column graph and underneath we have our bar graph. Both of them were constructed using an Excel spreadsheet. What we're going to look at now is how we do this. So here we are with our spreadsheet, and you can see over here that we have our frequency table shown. So to start doing we're going to do a column graph first. So when we start doing that, the first thing that we do is we highlight our table, okay? We then go to Insert and we click on this first icon here, Insert Column or Bar Graph. We click on that, and because we want to do a column graph, we're going to click on this one here. And you can see that what we have is now a column graph, or the basis of a column graph anyway. We're going to do some more things to it though to make sure that it is exactly the way that we want it. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to click on the plus here and we're going to add axis titles. You will see now that we have axis title here on the horizontal axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of axis title, delete it, and now I'm going to put in our fruit because our horizontal axis is showing us our fruit. Now I'm going to click on here. Once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete axis title and I'm going to put in frequency there. I'm also going to click on here and I'm going to delete frequency and I'm going to put in my graph title and I'm going to say nicest fruit. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put some axes in. So I'm going to click on here. Okay, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to go to solid line over here. And when I take that away, you can see I have an axis here. I'm also going to click on here. What I'm going to do is go back to the paint brush and go to solid line. And now I've got a solid line there as well. The last thing I want to do is I want to colour my bars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the first bar and notice how all bars have been highlighted now. If I click on it again, I now have my first bar only highlighted with little dots here. So now I'm going to right click, I'm going to fill, and I'm going to colour that one red because it's an apple. Do the same with the second bar. Click once, click twice, right click, go to fill. I'm going to colour this one orange. Go again, click on banana once, click on it twice, right click, go to fill, and this time I'll use yellow here. Click on the bars, click again, right click, go to fill, and I'm going to colour this one green because a kiwi fruit has a green flesh. Now I'm going to leave blueberry as it is because I want it to be blue. Now for grapes, I'm going to click on once, click on twice, right click, go to fill, and I'm going to colour this one purple because sometimes grapes are purple. So here I have my column graph and I'm just going to move it up a little bit so that I've got enough room. So now I'm going to do a bar graph. So once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my table. I'm going to go to Insert, and this time I'm going to go to Column and Bar Graph, but this time I'm going to go down to here and click there. And now I've got the makings of a bar graph here. I'm just going to go down a bit so we've got enough room. Okay, so now we're going to do something similar to what we did with our column graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on plus, click on axis titles so that I've got axis titles now. I'm going to put an axis title down here and I'm going to call this frequency because in a bar graph we've got our frequency on the horizontal axis. I'm going to click on here. Once again, I'm going to delete axis title and I'm going to put in fruit here. I'm going to click on my title and I'm going to change my title and call it Nicest Fruit. Now I'm going to click on here and I'm going to go to the paintbrush item and click solid line so that I get an axis there. I'm going to click on here, do the same thing. Go to the paintbrush, solid line, and now I've got axes on there. And now I'm going to colour my bars. So once again, I'm going to click on once, click on twice, right click, go to fill, and I'm going to colour that purple. I'm going to keep blueberry as blue. Now I'm going to click on kiwi fruit, click again, right click, go to fill, and I'll pick green for kiwi fruit. Right click once, click twice, right click, go to fill, and this time for banana, I'm going to do yellow. Click once, click twice, right click, go to fill, and I'm going to colour this orange. Click once, oh, that's enough. Right click, go to fill, and I'm going to go red there. So now I have my bar graph completed. When you are asked to do a bar or a column graph as part of your project, make sure that you go back to this video and go through how to do it correctly. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful.